Hey everybody, welcome to SMG Viewers Comments episode 109, where if you don't like what I have to say, you can fuck right off.
The hot girl thing is cringy and tasteless as fuck.
So says the guy with the handle big fat cock. Really? Do you guys not understand irony at all? Get help.
Comment and question. Comment, switch the strings on my bass and I don't understand how more people don't do this. I want to record by amp, but I only have a Fender amp and a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 mic in a bedroom studio. Any advice on how to get a clear sound for clean and heavy?
I'd say go with software. There's a lot of really great stuff out right there right now. Of course, Bias, the Joey Sturgis plugins like Menace, they sound fucking amazing. The new Jason Richardson one's really good. And I'm going to be taking a look at the Helix software this Sunday, so you might want to check that out as well. Will it survive a Fearless Gear review? I think many people want to know. Was in the middle of packing a bowl, not really paying attention to the intro of the video. Then out of nowhere I hear, put down the bong and pay attention. Fuck you, Glenn. Yes, Owen, I meant you specifically, you fucking stoner. Now go do something positive with your life.
Great review, Glenn. It demonstrates how important being fearless is when testing equipment that the rest of us might actually lay out our hard-earned money for. Hell, if I wanted someone to blow smoke up my ass about a product, I could just go to Guitar Center and get my fill of that. What I'll never understand are the viewers who couldn't fathom hurting Line 6's feelings. Really?
Dude, thank you so much. It's glad to see somebody who actually gets what that whole series is about. That's absolutely right. And that should actually probably be, Guitar Center's new slogan. Hey, come to Guitar Center. Let's make you feel really good about what you're buying, whether it actually sounds good or not. Who gives a fuck? Seriously though, about the people getting mad about that, it's not so much about them hurting Line 6 feelings, it's about somebody giving an honest review about something they might have bought, and that's probably why they get offended. People want to feel good about the purchases that they've made, and if I come along and say, hey, this thing's a piece of shit, and somebody laid down their money that they probably worked their ass off for, that tends to piss people off a little bit. So, I don't know, I'd suggest maybe watch my show before you buy stuff.
Hi, Glenn. What do you think of the Onyx i5 as a cabinet mic?
I think it's fantastic. I own several. I use one on the bottom snare, but it's a great alternative to the SM57. It's got a slightly different voicing. So if you're sick of getting the same guitar tone over and over and over again, you don't quite have the money to shell out for a Roswell Delphos, the i5 is really cool. Meanwhile, get yourself a Roswell Mini K47 too. Those are pretty awesome on guitar cabinets as well. But yeah, if you're really stuck, yeah, an i5 will definitely do the trick. And sometimes you can find them on sale. Definitely a great replacement for a 57, no question about that.
Glenn, any advice towards fire prevention in home studios? I've heard horror stories of studios drawing too much power or faulty outlets causing fires. I also see studios with huge racks of gear and wonder what safety precautions commercial studios might take. Haven't seen much on this topic.
Fire prevention is actually one of my biggest concerns here in the studio. When I laid the place out, I made sure I had the fire exits marked. There's easy access to extinguishers, and I've even got my smoke detector tied into my security system, so that will alert the security company in case something goes wrong. So yes, fire safety is an absolute 100% total importance before anything in this studio as far as I'm concerned. That, and have your electrical wiring inspected by a qualified electrical inspector, and make sure you have an electrician do it and not Bob's uncle's brother's sister's father do it, because they can do it for cheap, because electrical wiring is something you really don't want to fuck with.
I don't even know why I'm subbed to this channel anymore. It's turned into a steaming hot pile of predictable bullshit. Seriously, ragging on Line 6 is fearless? Anyone that didn't start playing yesterday knows Line 6 is pretty much shit all across the board. Way to go, Glenn. You really outdid yourself here. Now go make another predictable bass player joke and go fuck yourself.
Hey man, I'm so sorry to let you down. I'm sorry that got you disappointed. But dude, you can get yourself a prescription for Midol. That should really take care of it. I know it's a rough part of the month. Hey guys, just want to bring this up. If you're disappointed that you didn't win the Rev Generator in the SMG Oldies but Baddies competition, hope is not lost. I've still got 3 discount codes left. SMG10, that gets you 10% off the Rev Generator 120, the Rev Generator 100, and the 740. Take your pick. You can take 10% off with that code SMG10. Just want to put that out there. Grab them while you can. Like I said, there are only 3 left. And for you European guys, the generators are finally in stock at Thomann. You can check all the links for that in the description below. Back to the show.
Hey Glenn, what's your standpoint on using an electronic drum kit to track drums in a small home studio recording setup? I was looking for a few different electronic kits to possibly add one to my arsenal. I live in an apartment with close neighbors, but programming drums from scratch tracks is a pain in the ass. Thanks.
Dude, I've got no problem at all with people using electronic drum kits in an apartment situation understand not everybody has the space or the soundproofing to use a live drum kit, believe me. There's more of you guys than there are of me, so I totally understand that. Proceed with caution because your neighbors can still be dicks. I've got a buddy of mine who lives in an apartment. He's got an electronic drum kit and the neighbors still complain about that. Just the tappity tap. So be careful. Don't lay down too much money right from the get-go or rent something. You know, that's a good way of testing out to see if your neighbors are complete assholes or not. But just shop around and see what's available and keep your eye on those Craigslist ads because you might get really lucky there.
What are your thoughts on Rob Chapman / Anderton's music?
I think they're a great bunch of dudes, actually. I met them a couple years ago at NAMM, and I even got to visit Anderton's in England there last year when I went to the country, and spent a day hanging out with the whole crew there, and, you know, hung out with Lee Anderton for a little bit, and, you know, got to hang with Rabia and the rest of the crew. You know, just a really awesome bunch of guys. I've got nothing but total respect and admiration for what they do. They're just a fantastic bunch. I don't think you're going to find a more solid bunch of dudes.
Hey Glenn, I was recently declined from a band because my bass still has the stock passive pickup. Just wanted to get your input and opinion on this situation.
Maybe they were being nice to you. That was their way of saying, go fucking practice. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever heard of somebody not getting into a band because he had the wrong pickup. Either you need to practice or they are such complete anal retentive dickheads. You wouldn't want to be in a band with those guys anyway. Seriously, if they're saying you can't be in the band because you got the wrong pickup. Nobody's going to notice at the gigs you guys are going to start playing. I mean, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Nobody's going to fucking notice in a live situation, ever. Maybe you're better off not being in that band.
Hey Glenn, I was wondering what is the best way to get over being shy? Shy as in, oh god, I don't want to play for these people or try out for this band. A bit insecure of how my playing is when I'm stuck in an echo chamber of family and friends who say I'm good.
I've said this before, and I don't know if you missed this. I said this in another episode of Viewers' Comments, is you have to invent a character. You have to be the Superman version of you. Perfect example of that is Alice Cooper. By day, he is Vincent Fernier, just average golf playing nutcase. And, you know, when he gets on stage, though, he becomes Alice Cooper. He becomes this complete 180 of who he is in real life. And that's what you need to be. You can't just be, you know, Joe Guitar Player. You got to be Joe Guitar God when you get up there. So learn how to act the part you want to be. You can be yourself in your off time, but when you're on stage, you've got to be more. Another great idea to test out your new character would be to maybe go to some open mic nights where nobody you know is around and try it there and see how well that works out for you. Wish you the best of luck, man.
So, how can 20 watts generate so much power? I thought the higher watts means the higher the volume.
Now, here's where it gets interesting because a 20 watt amp and a 100 watt amp, there might not be that huge of a volume difference between the two of them because they can only push the speakers so far, and that's what happens. One of the loudest amps I own is actually only 40 watts. It's a Trainer YB1A from the mid-60s. It's hand-wired and tubes, and it's loud enough to melt fucking concrete. And it's louder than my 5150, which is like, what, 120 watts or something like that? Don't get too caught up on the numbers. The question is it loud? Yes. Okay, is that loud enough to play with a drum set? Yes. Okay, go grab one.
I thought for sure the cover of Careless Whisper would make the top 10. It had far more musicianship than most of the entries and a guitar tone heavy enough to kill a small mammal. I'd assume the Sims and samples basically DQ'd it.
Actually, no, you know what? I really enjoyed the whole sound of that. I thought it was really well performed. I just didn't find myself coming back to it like I did the ones I found in the top 10 because those, like I said, they had replayability, whereas the Careless Whisper didn't quite do it for me. I know a lot of you guys really liked that one, and the guy did a great job. It just didn't quite have that spark for me. It's like he hit every point he should have, but there just wasn't quite enough to push it over the edge, in my opinion. Again, you might have a difference of opinion, and that's fine. That's what makes music interesting, is we all have differences of opinion. I'm not saying it was a bad performance by any stretch of the imagination. And, if there hadn't been a couple of others, he probably would have made it in the top 10.
As an aging baby boomer, I couldn't agree more with your comment about my generation being stuck on the same 400 or songs and not being willing to open their mind to anything new. I can't do jams anymore because anyone my age is unwilling to try anything even remotely interesting.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. It gets pretty brutal, in the manufacturing world where you keep hearing the same songs over and over and over again. I remember working midnight shift back in the 90s, and WCSX, I swear you could set your watch to the time they would play Baker Street every fucking night. We were actually out for pizza there last week, and that came on the PA at the restaurant. We started screaming at the fucking the guy behind the guy, change the fucking station! Have we heard this fucking song enough? I mean, fuck, if I hear that goddamn saxophone one more time, I mean, like, just makes you want to fucking take small objects and throw them through plate glass windows.
Rule of the pit, you don't talk about the pit.
Well, this is just stupid.
If you stop doing viewers' comments videos, I'd run out of insults to use on my bass player.
Oh, dude, it's not really that hard. You don't need me to write them for you. Just fucking watch them for maybe 20 minutes. They'll come to you naturally. All right, that's it for this episode of SMG Viewers Comments. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And good night, San Diego. Go fuck yourself.